Hi everyone. Welcome to today's lesson with English Teacher Resource Hub by Crew Ben. Have you ever had a teacher who changed your life? Today we'll learn about past simple and past continuous tenses using a touching story, The Grateful Heart. Enjoy watching the story.
English Teacher Resource Hub by Crew Ben presents The Grateful Heart. When Daniel was only 6 years old, he lost both of his parents in an accident. With no relatives willing to take him in, he was left alone, scared, and unsure of what the future held. His small village had offered little to an orphan like him, except for one person, Ms. Adams, his primary school teacher. Ms. Adams was not a wealthy woman. She lived in a small house near the school and did not earn much as a teacher in a small town. But when she saw Daniel's hopeless eyes,
"If I don't take care of him, he will have no one,"
she thought to herself. Though she didn't have much, she shared what she had and took care of him as best as she could. Every evening, after she had finished grading papers, she helped Daniel with his homework. She had already sacrificed so much for herself, but she never hesitated to give more for him.
"If you work hard and never lose hope, one day you will change your life,"
she would say whenever he felt discouraged. Years passed, and Daniel studied tirelessly. He never forgot the sacrifices Ms. Evans had made, how she had worn the same pair of shoes for years so she could afford his school supplies, how she had pretended she wasn't hungry just so he could eat more, and how she had comforted him like a mother when he felt lost. With her unwavering support, Daniel earned a scholarship to a prestigious university. Before leaving, he hugged Ms. Evans and promised,
"One day I will return and take care of you."
She only smiled and said,
"Seeing you succeed is enough for me."
Years later, Daniel had become a successful businessman, but no matter how far he had gone, he had never forgotten where he came from. One day, he returned to the small village, now driving a car far fancier than anything the townspeople had ever seen. He knocked on the door of Ms. Evans's house. When she opened it, now frail and with silver hair, her eyes widened in shock.
"Daniel?"
"Yes, I am."
Without another word, he took her hands and said,
"You raised me when you had nothing. Now let me take care of you."
Tears filled her eyes, but she smiled and said,
"You were always my greatest reward. I never wanted anything in return, Daniel."
Ms. Adams said, her eyes filled with warmth.
"Please let me do this for you. It's the least I can do,"
said Daniel. From that day forward, Daniel made sure Ms. Evans had everything she needed. He built her a comfortable home, hired someone to care for her, and visited her often. Because he knew, if she hadn't taken him in, he would never have become the man he was today. Gratitude is not just about remembering kindness, it's about passing it forward.
Now let's go over the rules for past simple and past continuous tenses with this exercise.
Respond to these statements if they are correct or incorrect. 1. Past simple is used for actions that happened and completed in the past. Correct. For example, Daniel lost his parents in an accident when he was 6. 2. In past simple, regular verbs always end in ed. For example, verb work becomes worked. This is correct. For example, Daniel worked hard for a scholarship. 3. In past simple, the sentence, "She went to school" is correct. The sentence is not correct. It should be, "She went to school." 4. A time expression such as yesterday or last month can be added to the sentence in past simple to indicate a time in the past. Correct. For example, I played tennis with my sister yesterday. 5. Past continuous describes actions in progress that were interrupted by another past action. This is correct. For example, Ms. Adam was grading papers when Daniel knocked on the door. 6. In past continuous, this sentence, Daniel doing his homework at 5 p.m. yesterday is correct. No, the sentence is incorrect. In past continuous, the subject needs was or were, plus a verb ending with ing. So this sentence should be, Daniel was doing his homework at 5 p.m. yesterday. 7. When is often used with past simple, and while is often used with past continuous. This is correct. For example, my mother was cooking when my aunt called her. And while Ken was sleeping, a cat came into his bedroom. 8. The sentence, he was sleeping when the phone rang, is incorrect. This statement is wrong. The sentence, he was sleeping when the phone rang, is actually correct. One action, sleeping, was ongoing when another action, the phone rang, interrupted it. 9. Past simple is commonly used to narrate events in chronological or time order. This is true. For example, last summer, Emma visited her grandparents in a small village. She went to the pond near her grandparents' house. 10. Which sentence is correct? A or B? Sentence A. Ms. Adam was cooked dinner when Daniel arrived home. Sentence B. While Ms. Adam was cooking dinner, Daniel arrived home. Sentence B. While Ms. Adam was cooking dinner, Daniel arrived home. Is correct.
Review time. Uses of past simple tense. In summary, the past simple is used for actions or habits that were completed in the past. For example, Ms. Adam cooked dinner for Daniel after school. Next, the past simple is used for narrative purposes, that is, presenting story events in chronological order. For example, Daniel lost his parents when he was 6. Ms. Evans took him in and helped him with his studies. Years later, he earned a scholarship. Moreover, the conjunctive word when is often used with verbs in the past simple tense. For example, when he arrived home, children were watching TV. Lastly, common time expressions used with the past simple include yesterday, last year, in 2006, 2 months ago, and when I was young. In addition, here are the rules for forming the past simple tense of verbs. For regular verbs, we simply add ed to the base form. But there are some important spelling rules. Rule 1. Just add ed. Most verbs follow this simple rule. For example, walk, walked, play, played, want, wanted. Rule 2. Drop the final e and add d. If a verb already ends in e, just add d. For example, love, loved, dance, danced, hope, hoped. Rule 3. Double the final consonant and add ed. If a one-syllable verb ends in a single vowel plus consonant, double the consonant. For example, stop, stopped, plan, planned. Hug, hugged. Rule 4. If a verb ends in consonant plus y, change y to I before adding ed. For example, cry, cried study, studied try, tried. But if the verb ends in vowel plus y, just add ed. For example, play, played. Enjoy, enjoyed. Now, irregular verbs don't follow the ed rule. You have to memorize them. Below are some common irregular verbs: go, went, eat, ate, have, had, see, saw, take, took. Remember, there's no shortcut. The best way to learn irregular verbs is to practice and use them in sentences. Uses of past continuous tense. On the other hand, the past continuous is used for actions in progress at a specific time in the past. For example, Daniel was doing his homework at 5 p.m. on Sunday. Moreover, the past continuous is used for actions in progress that were interrupted by another action in the past simple. For example, one evening, while she was walking near the river, she found an old key on the ground. Lastly, the conjunctive word while is often used with verbs in the past continuous tense. For example, while I was walking home, I found a lost kitten under a tree. Now is the time for exercise.
Let's practice. Complete the sentences using either the past simple or past continuous for a verb in each bracket. Pause the video for a moment and write down the right verb tenses. Check your answers. 1. While Emma was walking in the park, she saw a lost puppy. 2. They were playing football when it suddenly started to rain. 3. Yesterday, we went to a new restaurant and had a delicious meal. 4. While Mark was reading a book, his cat jumped onto his lap. 5. When she arrived at the party, everyone was dancing. 6. Last summer, we traveled to Italy and visited many beautiful places.
That's all for today's lesson on the past simple and past continuous tenses. I hope you now understand when and how to use them in different situations. Remember, use past simple for completed actions and events in chronological order. Use past continuous for actions in progress, especially when interrupted by another action. Now, it's your turn. Try using these tenses in your own sentences. Drop a comment below with your examples, and I'll check them for you. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe for more English lessons, and hit the notification bell so you never miss a new video. See you in the next lesson.